No, don't. At this moment, as Xiao Yin and Duan Qifei were fleeing, a coquettish cry suddenly rang out. A graceful figure broke free from Xiao Yan's grip and shot toward Duan Tianhong, who was bound. This is bad. Xiao Yan's face changed drastically as a sense of dread surged within him. His eyes locked onto the black mist in the sky, which was laughing maniacally, and his figure shot toward it. Clearly, Duan Qifei had no idea what Duan Tianhong was planning, and Xiao Yin could only vaguely guess. The full plan, however, could only be known by Duan Tianhong himself. Buzz buzz. Duan Tianhong, bound by crimson chains, was extremely weak. Seeing Duan Qifei's speed increase as she charged toward him, he gritted his teeth in frustration. No one could have predicted this turn of events. Xiao Yin, take her and go. A cold snort echoed through the sky. Unable to use any of his strength due to the crimson chains, Duan Tianhong could only shout at the top of his lungs. Qifei, come with me. Xiao Yin quickly caught up to Duan Qifei and blocked her path, his face grim as he spoke. Regardless of whether Duan Tianhong's actions were deliberate or not, this soul guard with half-step 5-star Do Xian strength was clearly not something the two of them could handle. Xiao Yin, I acknowledge you as a true friend. If you still consider me a friend, step aside. Duan Qifei's eyes were filled with a murderous intent, and torrents of thunderous power erupted from her, filling the air. Xiao Yin could only feel a chilling sense of dread as he looked at her. Qifei, trust me, Xiao Yin said helplessly. At this moment, Duan Qifei was clearly blinded by hatred. Get out of the way. After a few breaths, the thunder around Duan Qifei became even more dazzling. She roared at Xiao Yin, who was blocking her path. If she didn't save her father, he would be in grave danger. She had already lost her mother and couldn't afford to lose her father as well. I'm sorry. Seeing this, Xiao Yin gritted his teeth and shot a vicious glance at the black mist in the distance, which was intensifying its seal on Duan Tianhong, before speaking. Swoosh swoosh. You won't escape. Black mist, fill the sky. A furious roar resounded, like a wild beast, and the terrifying black fog surged toward Xiao Yin and Duan Qifei. The black mist exuded a sinister, eerie aura. If even a hint of it touched them, they would be instantly consumed and assimilated. Xiao Yin, how dare you? As if sensing the sudden surge of soul power and Do Qi within Xiao Yin, Duan Qifei was startled. Phantom mirage, heaven's illusion. A crisp, melodic cry rang out, and a vast and profound soul force spread rapidly, under Xiao Yan's meticulous control, launching an attack on Duan Qifei. Thud. Duan Qifei never expected Xiao Yin to use such a tactic. Her eyes glazed over, but Xiao Yan's control of soul attacks was so refined that it did not harm her. At most, it only left her in a state of unconsciousness. Take her away. At this point, Duan Tianhong's expression finally revealed a trace of pain. Swoosh swoosh. Where do you think you're going? Seeing Xiao Yin grab the dazed Duan Qifei and run, the black mist could no longer contain its fury. Having just used the life-bound soul lock to seal Duan Tianhong, injecting a powerful binding force that drained much of his energy, dealing with Xiao Yin and Duan Qifei, who were focused on escaping, was proving difficult. If I can't catch you, then I'll send you a big gift. Blood Soul Sword Crossbow. The strange figure in the black mist, watching Xiao Yin and Duan Qifei distance themselves, slowly smiled. A terrifying, suffocating energy began to gather. The black mist, originally attacking Xiao Yin and Duan Qifei, suddenly condensed in the air and transformed into a massive blood-red sword crossbow, 1,000 feet in size. The sword crossbow emanated a chilling aura, filled with the vengeful spirits of the lonely dead, and a terrifying coldness rushed out. Bastard! 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 Let go of me. That's my father. If I don't go back, he'll die. I beg you. Feeling her energy draining, tears welled up in Duan Qifei's eyes, and her pupils turned red as she howled in desperation. She hammered Xiao Yan's chest with her fists, driven by a mix of anger and fear. Qifei, this time, trust me. Duan Valley Master will be fine. I swear on my life. Xiao Yin said softly, enduring the pain of Duan Qi Fei's strikes, his tone gentle but resolute. Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as Xiao Yin was escaping with Duan Qi Fei, the blood-colored crossbow suddenly tore through the void, making no sound as it rapidly closed in on them. It's too late. Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed as he let out a cold grunt. His eyelids slightly lowered, and he immediately activated the Dragon God's first transformation. A faint golden glow appeared on his body as he flipped backward, using his own body to try and block the blood-colored crossbow bolt. Hmph! A mere 2-star Do Xian dares to block my attack? How audacious! Black Mist sneered, laughing heartily at Xiao Yan's attempt. Xiao Yan's actions were nothing short of suicidal. Soon, the spatial transmission array fully formed, and a section of the space distorted, but at the same time, the blood-colored crossbow arrived quietly. Boom! Originally, the blood-colored crossbow was aimed at Duan Qi Fei, but at the critical moment, Xiao Yin pivoted, and the target shifted. The dazzling blood-red light, carrying an overwhelming force, struck Xiao Yin directly in the chest. When the blood-colored bolt struck Xiao Yin, it was momentarily blocked by a burst of radiant yellowish fire and a faint golden aura. However, as time passed, the two forces were soon pierced through completely. Thud! The blood-colored crossbow bolt, like an arrow from a taut bowstring, shot straight through Xiao Yan's chest, creating a bloody hole. Xiao Yan's face turned pale from the impact. However, no one noticed that inside the wound on Xiao Yan's chest, a strange black mist and a hint of golden light formed a protective barrier, as if guarding him from harm. The power was reminiscent of the Devourer of Souls influence and the strength from Dragon God's first transformation. No. Duan Qi Fei's face showed deep regret as she watched this move. Despite the severe injury, Xiao Yin didn't hesitate. He immediately pulled Duan Qi Fei into the spatial transmission array, disappearing into the eerie space. Being struck by my blood-soul crossbow, the controller of Sacred Flame is bound to fall. Duan Valley Master, this time, I've won. Ha ha ha. Watching Duan Tianhong sealed away and Xiao Yin pierced by his blood-soul crossbow, Black Mist couldn't help but laugh eerily. Little brat. This time, I owe you one. Duan Tianhong, watching Xiao Yin and Duan Qi Fei disappear in the distance, couldn't help but feel a pang of sorrow. Xiao Yin and Duan Qi Fei escaped through Xiao Yan's space-shifting hand seal, heading towards the Thunder Pool. Xiao Yin, are you okay? In the void, Duan Qi Fei gazed at the gaping hole in Xiao Yan's chest, her eyes wide with shock. A wave of guilt washed over her. Clearly, had it not been for Xiao Yin protecting her, he wouldn't have suffered such severe injuries. But strangely, despite the severity of the wound, his internal energy remained remarkably stable, and there was no blood flowing from the hole. You're talking about this? Xiao Yin glanced at her, shaking his head. His pale face quickly regained color, and even the hole in his chest rapidly healed under the nourishment of his Do Qi. What is going on? Duan Qi Fei asked, astonished. The Soul Guard's attack is indeed powerful. If it weren't for my master's blessing and my body-refining technique, I probably wouldn't have been able to withstand it, Xiao Yin explained. The Blood-Soul crossbow was indeed formidable. Without the protection of the Devourer of Souls power, that single shot could have seriously wounded him, or even killed him. But with the Devourer of Souls power guarding him, the crossbow strike felt as harmless as a child's game. Although it pierced his chest, it caused no real harm. At most, it left some superficial wounds, a mere illusion to fool the Soul Guards. For an alchemist of Xiao Yan's caliber, even skin regeneration was a matter of moments. Where do we go now? Duan Qi Fei asked softly. To the Thunder Pool. We need to meet up with the main forces, Xiao Yin thought for a moment and said. After all, the space-shifting hand seal could only take them to places Xiao Yin had visited recently. About what happened earlier, I'm sorry. I was too rash. Your father must have his own plans, Duan Qi Fei said, looking at Xiao Yin, her tone softening. Don't worry. I've already secretly expelled the extraterritorial evil disease from Duan Valley Master's body. And Duan Valley Master didn't struggle in the end. He must have his own strategy. Father, he really is incredible. Duan Qifei shook her head slowly upon hearing this, clearly no longer afraid of anything now that Xiaoyan had given her such reassurance. Thunder Pool. What happened in the Thunder Pool? I don't know, but the Thunder Pool still hasn't returned to normal. Mu Gu and the others had remained in the Thunder Pool, not daring to leave. Although the extraterritorial evil clan had been defeated and all participants had returned to normal, for safety reasons, they chose to stay put. Whew. As they conversed, the air around the Thunder Pool suddenly rippled, and two figures slowly emerged. Xiaoyan, Duan Qifei? As the light faded, the participants could not help but exclaim in surprise. You two are finally back. Mu Gu, Yun Qi, and the others walked up, smiling. The Thunder Pool's restrictions haven't been fully lifted yet. The extraterritorial evil clan has been subdued, but from here on out, the real war is probably about to begin, Xiaoyan said helplessly. A real war? What do you mean? Mu Gu and the other strong figures exchanged puzzled glances, frowning as they asked. Some forces are probably preparing to invade the eastern continent, Xiaoyan said, slowly shaking his head as he gazed into the distance. Invade the eastern continent? The strong ones around them gasped, unable to suppress their shock. After all, the number of powerful beings in the eastern continent alone was staggering. There were only a handful of forces capable of launching an invasion. Forget it. Let's focus on recovering to our peak states. What comes next will likely be a brutal battle. After thinking for a moment, Xiaoyan didn't dwell on it further, sitting cross-legged to begin recovering his energy. This level of conflict was probably beyond their involvement. However, as the master of Sacred Flame, Xiaoyan could always lend his strength if needed, though it might only be enough for a desperate struggle. It seems like there's nothing else we can do right now. The other powerful figures nodded slowly, clearly acknowledging that they had no other choice. Outside Thunder City, Eastern Continent. The outer perimeter of Thunder City, originally shielded by countless lightning forces, was suddenly engulfed by rare black mist. From within the mist, dozens of figures appeared, each one radiating an overwhelmingly sinister aura. Are all the people here? A man seated on a throne within the black mist spoke, his black robe slightly shifting. On the robe, the word Sin was intricately carved, looking almost alive. Two forces emerged from within the black mist. The black-robed figures were clearly members of the Soul Hall, and the word Sin marked them as the strongest of Sin. At last, the forces of Sin and the Soul Hall had fully gathered. Report, Lord Envoy of Sin. All connections outside Thunder City in the Eastern Continent have been severed. Within a day, nothing that happens here will be discovered by any powerful beings, one of the figures in black spoke. Good. Well done. This trip to the Eastern Continent will certainly bring you great rewards. The Envoy of Sin smiled slowly, his face barely visible under the hood of his robe, only his angular features showing. How are the Phantom Mirage clan doing? The Envoy of Sin asked again, as their forces, the Sin clan, served the extraterritorial evil clan. Although the Phantom Mirage clan had acted independently, ignoring orders. Report, my lord, the three leaders of the Phantom Mirage clan seem to have been sealed by the Valley Master of Forged Blade Thunder Valley. The figure spoke again, his tone hinting at amusement. As for the Phantom Mirage clan, our Soul Guard Lord has already gone to handle them, so you needn't worry, my lord. My lord, what you should focus on is how to completely eliminate the powerful beings of the Eastern Continent. After all, there are dozens of 4-star Docian experts there. Our current strength is not enough to handle them. Another Soul Hall figure, a black-robed man, said to the Envoy of Sin. This man himself was a 4-star Docian, clearly one of the leaders of the Soul Hall. As long as Duan Tianhong doesn't intervene, a mere 4-star Docian is nothing but a soul to be reaped by my blade. The Envoy of Sin's eyes slowly grew distant as he looked towards the Thunder City, his gaze cold. Let's begin. Moments later, the leader of the Soul Hall directly spoke. Rumble. The moment the words left his mouth, the Envoy of Sin, seated on his throne in the black mist, straightened up, and a terrifying wave of energy suddenly spread throughout the space. 5-star Docian. The envoy of Sin's power had reached the 5-star Docian level. Boom! As the envoy of Sin stood tall, a sinister smile appeared on his face. Immediately, a wave of evil energy erupted like a demon rising from hell, crashing into Thunder City's protective shield. Thunder City was the heart of the Eastern Continent, home to the 8 great forces. Whoosh! Whoosh! Countless forces of evil surged forth, immediately attacking the Thunder Shield. In an instant, the shield seemed to face a formidable enemy, its silver lightning dazzling as it tried to resist. However, after just a moment, the sound of cracks and breaks echoed through the space around Thunder City, shaking the heavens. With the Thunder Shield protecting Thunder City shattered, the city itself became as vulnerable as fish on a chopping block, ready to be slaughtered. At that point, the Eastern Continent would surely be in grave danger. Boom! Boom! As the Thunder Shield shattered, the entire Thunder City began to shake violently. What is that thing? I don't know. It looks like a ball of black mist? Black mist? In Thunder City, countless figures paused their actions, staring blankly at the sky above the city. The black in the sky grew larger in their eyes, and a wave of fear surged in their hearts. What is that thing? Inside the Alchemist Association, several powerful figures stood silently in the courtyard, their gazes fixed on the growing black in the sky, a heavy feeling settling over them. The third stage of the Eastern Continent competition should be ending soon, but before that, I'm afraid. Among the figures, an elderly man with white hair slowly shook his head. Vice President Tan Chen. What's going on? Several of the elders below were utterly confused. Although they sensed something was wrong, their weak spiritual power left them unaware of the true situation. Send my orders to the City Lord's mansion and the other 7 major factions. Whoever is coming is full of aggression. This battle, I fear it's unavoidable, Tan Chen said, slowly shaking his head. The usual smile on his face was replaced by an expression of solemnity. I'll go meet them and buy us some time. Tan Chen's words had barely left his mouth when his figure disappeared, heading towards the high skies above Thunder City. Seeing the usually amiable Tan Chen so serious, the elders below understood the gravity of the situation and immediately set about informing the other factions. City Lord's mansion. My lord, something terrible has happened. All the people in Thunder City seem to be in a state of panic, and there's something rapidly approaching the city from the skies. The aura, it's too ominous and evil. And the Thunder Shield has been broken. An urgent voice echoed, and a guard quickly rushed in from outside. Grand Elder Duan Feng. What should we do? The city lord, seated at the head of the table, inquired, clearly having anticipated this turn of events. It seems the Valley Master's prediction was right. The day has come, Duan Feng said gravely. City Lord, please notify the 8 major factions of Thunder City to join forces in resisting the foreign enemy. I'll head to Forged Blade Thunder Valley for reinforcements. Duan Feng added, his tone serious. What frustrated Duan Feng, however, was that ever since the 3rd stage of the competition began, he had sensed unrest in Thunder City. He had sought reinforcements from Forged Blade Thunder Valley, but had received no response. Then I will trouble you, Grand Elder Duan Feng. Call for the order. Gather all powerful warriors to resist the foreign enemy. Orders flowed steadily from the City Lord's hands. Let's hope that this time, we can weather the storm in the Eastern Continent, the City Lord said, nodding slightly. It was as if he had already known this battle was coming. After all, considering the vengeful nature of the extraterritorial evil clan, the revenge for Duan Tianhong's annihilation of an entire clan was bound to come sooner or later. But Thunder City, like countless others in the Eastern Continent, held deep respect for Forged Blade Thunder Valley. After all, if it weren't for Duan Tianhong, the entire Eastern Continent might have been washed in the blood of the Burning Soul clan by now. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the dazzling lightning above Thunder City was instantly obliterated. Waves of black clouds and mist began to churn, bringing with them a series of chilling fluctuations. Those guys from Thunder City, huh? Come out and die. A voice filled with extreme arrogance, accompanied by waves of sinister sound, suddenly reverberated throughout the entire Thunder City. In the black mist, only a handful of powerful figures from the Sin faction remained. Meanwhile, the Soul Hall's warriors split into two groups, heading towards Forged Blade Thunder Valley. Thunder City, with its vast expanse housing millions of people, trembled under the oppressive aura from the Sin faction's leader. Instantly, panic spread throughout the entire city. Heh. To think we've forced out a Sin faction-level powerhouse, a voice echoed from the black mist, as several dark spaces around the mist twisted ominously. In the next instant, several overwhelming presences materialized out of nowhere. As these presences appeared, the evil aura surrounding the Sin faction leader seemed to weaken significantly. Vice President Tan Chun of the Alchemist Association, Master Bingqing of the Ice Soul Palace, Master Zhou Yinyuan of the Auction House. A deep, unfathomable voice echoed from the black mist, clearly indicating that the Sin faction had already gathered all of Thunder City's intelligence before launching their assault. This is really troublesome. Three figures appeared out of thin air. Instantly, the two men and one woman revealed their strength. Each had reached the 4-star Do Xian level. Just in time. This time, let's settle the new and old grudges with the Burning Soul Clan together. Without Duan Tianhong, let's see how you can deal with us. The Lord Envoy of Sin shook his head slightly, his evil eyes and aura swirling with malice, showing no fear at all. This guy seems to have come prepared. Hearing the Lord Envoy of Sin's words, the others couldn't help but feel a heavy weight in their hearts. You three are not enough? Are there any stronger opponents? Let's deal with it all together, or you're just wasting my time. The Lord Envoy of Sin saw that the three were merely 4-star Do Xian, and didn't act recklessly. After all, the only 5-star Do Xian, Duan Tianhong, had been blocked by the Soul Guards. The remaining 4-star Do Xian wouldn't pose much of a threat. Ha ha ha. The Lord Envoy of Sin himself has come to our eastern continent. If we don't show some real skills, it would be a sign of disrespect to you. A loud roar echoed through the sky, and immediately, figures began to emerge from the void. 8 people in total, all 4-star Do Xian. The strongest of them was at the late 4-star Do Xian stage, while the weakest was at the early 4-star Do Xian. Such a terrifying lineup even made the Lord Envoy of Sin, a 5-star Do Xian, feel a stir of surprise. 8 4-star Do Xian. The forces on the eastern continent really have a deep foundation. However, that's not enough. The Lord Envoy of Sin smiled with satisfaction, and a wave of crazy energy slowly spread from him. In Thunder City, besides the Forged Blade Thunder Valley, these 8 forces were the most troublesome. The 8 of them were the top elites of their respective factions. As long as they could defeat them, the eastern continent would be completely lost. At that point, their goal would be achieved. A group of ants relying on the power of the extraterritorial evil clan to bully others, in the end, they're just walking corpses. The blood-robed sect master sneered, his voice full of extreme disdain. It seems you're eager to seek death yourselves. In that case, don't blame me. Attack. Upon hearing this, the Lord Envoy of Sin's brow furrowed, and a brilliant killing intent, accompanied by waves of evil energy, suddenly expanded throughout the space. Attack. No matter what, we must stop him. The 8 powerful warriors were naturally unwilling to back down. They exchanged a glance, and then spoke with united determination. They believed that, with the combined strength of the 8 of them, although they couldn't wipe out the Lord Envoy of Sin, they should be able to hold him off. And with their trust in Duan Tianhong, once he joined the fight, victory would be certain. The Lord Envoy of Sin was the strongest member of the Sin faction, residing in the eastern continent's largest stronghold. Though he had only reached the early 5-star Do Xian stage, for the sake of the eastern continent and the powers behind them, they could not afford to lose. This was a battle they could not afford to lose. Boom. In the sky above Thunder City, thousands of feet high, the heads of the 8 forces unleashed their dazzling Do Qi, and they looked solemnly at the Lord Envoy of Sin. My lord, These 8 are not to be underestimated. Should we join in? In the black mist, several powerful Sin faction members slowly spoke up. No need, just watch. Rather than directly destroying the enemy, it will be far more beautiful to slowly crush their faith. Since these 8 are the last hope of Thunder City, let me be the one to destroy it completely. Only then will the taste of despair be the most exquisite form of torture. Swish. As the Lord Envoy of Sin finished speaking, his black robe erupted in a dazzling evil light. Attack. The 8 powerful warriors exchanged a glance, and then a fierce battle intent spread through the air. Ice Rain Tempest. With a cold snort, the Ice Soul Palace Master was the first to strike. She was an Ice-type warrior, and despite being a woman, her ice affinity greatly amplified her power. It would severely slow the Lord Envoy of Sin's speed, giving them a considerable advantage. Crash. As the Ice Soul Palace Master's voice fell, a series of transparent ice blocks suddenly appeared in the sky. A terrifying, ominous power radiated from the blocks, and under their cover, even the surrounding space seemed to be frozen. Not a bad attack. But unfortunately, the Lord Envoy of Sin's face was filled with a mocking grin. He laughed. With his 5-star Do Xian strength, none of these 8 warriors could stand against him one-on-one. This guy. Among the 8, the others didn't stop, their dazzling attacks brewing in their hands. Only Tan Shun, the vice president of the Alchemist Association, seemed to sense something from the smile of the Sin Envoy. Green Vine Immortal Lock. Realizing what was happening, the master of the wooden pavilion was the first to react. A surge of green wood-type energy erupted into the sky, and before everyone, a giant wooden lock, 1,000 feet long, materialized. The lock was entirely formed of green Do Qi, but the overwhelming sense of danger emanating from it made everyone's hearts sink. Attack. Among the 8, only Tan Shun had a powerful soul force, which made him the commander of the battle. Boom! The dazzling ice blocks suddenly exploded in the void. The explosive sound, reverberating across the heavens and earth, was accompanied by a chill that spread throughout the space, slowing the Sin Envoy's movements. At that moment, the 1,000-foot wooden vines surged forward like a force unimpeded, their path causing the very space to stir restlessly. Not bad for an attack. However, don't forget, I am the Fire Sin Envoy. Without any fear, the Sin Envoy sneered, and a terrifyingly evil aura radiated from his strange pupils as he bellowed at the 8. Whoosh! As his voice fell, scorching red flames surged out of the eerie black mist around him. The flames leaped like spirits, dancing joyfully. Under his control, the flames spread outward, constantly erupting from him like a volcano, violently spewing fiery energy in all directions. Boom! The volcanic eruption of fiery energy swept through the void, shattering the slowing effect of the 1,000-foot vines and ice blocks in an instant. Fire Sin Envoy? Weren't the Sins always serving the extraterritorial evil clan, only capable of using evil powers? Why is he using fire now? Seeing how easily the Fire Sin Envoy countered their attacks, the pressure on everyone increased. The factions within the Sin forces may serve the extraterritorial evil clan, but at their core, they're still human. That's why it's not surprising he can wield fire. However, with this, things are going to be troublesome. After all, this guy is a genuine 5-star Do Xian. Moreover, it seems that the Forged Blade Thunder Valley has cut off all contact with the outside world. They are probably in a precarious situation as well. Tan Shin's gaze narrowed as he spoke solemnly. In that case, let's go all in. Hearing Tan Shin's serious tone, the other powerful warriors couldn't help but smile. Each of them was the top powerhouse of their respective factions. With the Forged Blade Thunder Valley out of the picture, the banner of leadership now naturally fell on them. In that case, let's do this. They all spoke, their hearts sinking slightly before a smile appeared. Moments later, a rare silver lightning energy began to flow slowly over the bodies of the 8, and under its current, their powers seemed to merge together. Not going to play anymore? The Fire Sin Envoy, enveloped by black mist and surrounded by rings of flames, emanated a force that could likely destroy any 4-star Docian warrior. Lord, be careful. I've heard that the powerful warriors of the Eastern continent understand the power of combined strikes. In the next instant, voices came from the black mist high above, originating from the Sin Envoy's subordinates. Fire Sin Envoy, let's settle this once and for all. The 8 spoke in unison, their voices booming with overwhelming momentum. Since that's the case, let's settle this. The Fire Sin Envoy smiled faintly, his absolute confidence in his strength clear as he calmly responded. Form the formation. Thousand Thunder Spirit Slaughtering Formation. The 8 roared together, their voices thundering through the skies. Boom! As the words fell, the red, green, and other colored Doqi from the bodies of the 8 surged towards Tan Chen, and in his hands, a golden scroll appeared, catching the Fire Sin Envoy's eye. The golden scroll seemed very plain, but the moment it appeared, it caused the Fire Sin Envoy's pupils to contract, as if it contained some power that made him fearful. The city-protecting formation of Thunder City? Upon realizing what was happening, a chill appeared on the Fire Sin Envoy's face. The Thousand Thunder Spirit Slaughtering Formation. He knew well its power. Back when Duan Tianhong single-handedly dealt with the entire Burning Soul clan, this formation played a crucial role. And it was this formation that had once slain a 5-star Docian powerhouse. Boom! Soon, the strength of the 7 individuals began to drain, but Tan Chen's power suddenly surged to the early stage of 5-star Docian. The golden scroll in his hand also emitted a terrifying, world-destroying aura. Using external power, the Fire Sin Envoy's heart burned with intensity, but he didn't stop. Activate the formation. Tan Chen disregarded the Fire Sin Envoy's movements. His gaze grew deep, and beams of energy in 8 different colors suddenly surged from his body, pouring into the golden scroll of the formation in his hand. Though the formation was powerful, it had its drawbacks. Without the strength of a 5-star Docian, one couldn't activate it, hence the current scene. Whoosh whoosh. Moments later, streams of golden light erupted across the skies above Thunder City. Then, bolts of silver lightning, each over 100 feet long, filled the entire sky, forming a massive net, wrapping the heavens above like a giant trap. Now, this is getting interesting, Fire Sin Envoy, who had been smirking all this time, finally wore a serious expression as countless bolts of silver lightning appeared around him. Tan Chen, you are underestimating me. Fire Sin Envoy, accept your judgment. Tan Chen stood at the apex of the formation, looking down with the imposing presence of a true powerhouse, surrounded by silver lightning as if he were a king of thunder. Although the Thousand Thunder Spirit Slaughtering Formation is formidable, with your mere early-stage 5-star Docian strength, you won't be able to hold out for long. If Duan Tianhong were here to unleash this formation, I would have no chance. But alas, alas. Fire Sin Envoy, trapped in the lightning net, was being constantly eroded by the overwhelming thunderous power, his evil energy dwindling rapidly. He could only weakly resist with his flame powers. How likely is Tan Chen to win? As they watched the tense standoff, the Ice Soul Palace master couldn't help but ask. Not sure, but it will be tough for him to defeat the Fire Sin Envoy. The auction house master replied solemnly, clearly having underestimated the Fire Sin Envoy's strength. At this point, our hopes rest with Duan Blade Thunder Valley and Tan Chen, the mercenary guild president said with resignation. The Blade Thunder Valley has cut off all communication. They must have a traitor in their midst, and right now, they are on the brink. Everyone couldn't help but comment. The Thousand Thunder Spirit Slaughtering Formation, built upon the power of thunder, purifies all things in this world. Thunder imprisonment. At this moment, Tan Chen was like a true Thunder Emperor, his control over the lightning in his hands, as if they were his most loyal subjects, at his beck and call. Boom! As Tan Chen spoke, silver lightning imbued with ancient power surged from the formation, hurtling toward Fire Sin Envoy in a frenzy. Trivial tricks. Fire Sin Envoy sneered. He endured the crushing weight of the lightning power, and with a cold snort, brilliant flames erupted from him once more. Whoosh! But in that instant, as Fire Sin Envoy's flames burst forth, they were greatly weakened. The silver lightning immediately devoured them upon contact. Whoosh whoosh. The silver lightning swiftly consumed the fire energy, and with a terrifying momentum, it surged forward. Ah! A shriek erupted from Fire Sin Envoy's mouth as the silver lightning transformed into countless small, mysterious runes that exploded with dazzling light in front of him. The evil black mist around Fire Sin Envoy shrieked in agony as the lightning rapidly eradicated it. Damn it! Fire Sin Envoy had thought Tan Shun was using the formation to imprison him. Little did he know, Tan Shun was actually using the formation to completely erase the evil energy from his body. And once the evil energy was gone, his 5-star Do Xian power would vanish with it. I will never give you this chance. Fire Sin Envoy gritted his teeth, his eyes turning bloodshot as an extreme heat wave suddenly surged from him. Boom, boom, boom. Moments later, an explosion rang out as the thunder runes were shattered by the blast. Escaping the initial wave of attacks, Fire Sin Envoy wasted no time and began fleeing in all directions. He realized that inside the formation, he was no match for Tan Shin. His only chance now was to stall for time. As long as Tan Shin's strength waned, the formation would naturally crumble. Despite not being able to defeat Tan Shin inside the formation, Fire Sin Envoy was confident he could buy some time with his own strength. Thus, the battle fell into a stalemate. However, as time passed and the defeat of the 8 strongest opponents seemed inevitable, it was only a matter of time. Inside the Thunder Pool, Duan Tianhong, this is all your own doing. The Soul Guard stood quietly in the air, looking at Duan Tianhong, who was tightly bound and couldn't help but laugh. A group of extraterritorial evil clan lackeys, Duan Tianhong sneered. Lackeys? The extraterritorial evil clan isn't even fit to polish our Soul Hall's shoes. Cooperating with them is simply a mutual need. In our eyes, they are just stepping stones for our advancement. Swish, swish. The Soul Guard let out a sinister laugh. Right? You're the ruler of the Eastern continent. I haven't formally introduced myself. I am one of the 5 Soul Guards of the Soul Hall, Hun Qianma. The Soul Guard smiled slowly. One of the 5 Soul Guards of the Soul Hall? Duan Tianhong couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Come inside. Without waiting for Duan Tianhong to react, Hun Qianma sneered coldly and immediately drew Duan Tianhong's body into his own spatial ring. This kind of spatial ring was a unique item of the Soul Hall, capable of storing living beings, an invaluable treasure for killing and plundering. Strange, the controller of the sacred flame didn't perish? It seems I'll have to go there in person. After completing everything, Hun Qianma murmured to himself and headed straight for the Thunder Pool. In the Thunder Pool, after a few days, Xiao Yin and the others had restored their strength to its peak, though they made no moves. Boom, boom, boom. Who goes there? The next moment, a crack appeared in the space within the Thunder Pool, and a blurry figure emerged. Fair, come with me. Before anyone could react, an old, giant hand reached out from the crack, swiftly pulling Duan Qifei back inside. Senior Nether Spirit Thunder Flood Dragon? Xiao Yin was somewhat puzzled, but seeing Duan Qifei disappear, he didn't give it much thought. Master, I've done as you instructed. Now, we only wait for the final horn of our counterattack. The void closed, and the Nether Spirit Thunder Flood Dragon, along with Duan Qifei, quickly left the Thunder Tomb. Xiao Yin, what should we do now? Yun Qi and Mu Gu spoke up, their faces filled with uncertainty. Even they were at a loss. Wait, Xiao Yin shook his head helplessly. Boom. Just as Xiao Yan's voice fell, a massive crack, 1,000 feet long, suddenly appeared in the Thunder Pool, and from the crack, a chilling, eerie aura surged. This is defend enemies. The figure that appeared earlier was the Nether Spirit Thunder Flood Dragon, so the group wasn't overly alarmed. However, what emerged now was enough to instill a deep sense of deathly fear in their hearts. Little brat, die for me. As soon as the 1,000-foot rift opened, a thunderous roar reverberated through the entire Thunder Pool. Boom! With the sound of the roar, A giant black hand, 100 feet in size, suddenly emerged from the crack and rushed toward Xiao Yin below. "You all stay here and don't wander," Xiao Yin said sternly to the others, and after a brief moment, the giant black hand seized him tightly, vanishing completely from the space. "Forget it. Just a bunch of ants." After capturing Xiao Yin, a mocking laugh echoed from the crack, and then the rift slowly closed, leaving the area peaceful once again. Below, the participants felt their legs give way, collapsing onto the ground. They never truly understood what they had just experienced. Duan Tianhong and Xiao Yin had been captured by the 5 Soul Guard, Hun Qianma. The heads of the 8 major forces were being held back by the Fire Sin envoy. It seemed that the Eastern continent's troubles had only just entered a truly intense stage.